My parents were handing out Disney tickets to all the grandkids. When they got to my kid, sorry, we miscounted. Then they smiled and handed the extras to my sister's kids' friends while my kid watched. I didn't clap back. They passed the last two tickets to a stranger in mouse ears while my daughter stood there holding a plastic cup of lemonade like it was a shield. My name is Lisa. I'm 37. I'm the background one, the driver, the woman who shows up literally. I'm a long-haul trucker with a thermos that smells like diesel and cinnamon, 3 high-vis jackets that never stay clean, and a dashboard St. Christopher that's chipped on the left foot. I know every way station between Amarillo and Joliet. I can sleep in a cab on a windy night, and I can back a 48-footer into a spot with 6 inches to spare. I don't make scenes. I make deliveries. Family role. The fixer. The sure, I'll cover it woman. The one who gets the group chat text at 2 a.m. because you're always up anyway, right? The one who can be counted on. The invisible version of dependable. It was my dad's birthday cookout. Backyard folding tables. The big cooler that still has a faded Lakers sticker from 1999. We were told to bring sides. I came with deviled eggs and a cooler tray wedged between my daughter's soccer ball and a pack of wet wipes. My sister Avery arrived late with balloons and a ring light because, of course, she documents everything. Mom clapped her hands. Okay, grandkids to the patio. Grandpa has a surprise. They lined them up like a tiny marching band. Avery's twins were in matching shirts. Disney crew. Her oldest, Maya, had glitter on her eyelids. My daughter, Lucy, 8, was off to the side in a dinosaur tee. She picked it herself. She calls it her roar shirt. She doesn't like crowds, but she loves Grandpa, so she tried. Dad made a speech about memories that last forever, and Mom pulled out an envelope stuffed with printed e-tickets. 4 for the twins, 1 for Maya. Mom sang, counting like it was a game. Then she turned to Lucy. She hesitated. Oh, honey, she said to me, voice dropping just a little. We miscounted. I'm sure we can figure something out later. Then, smile bright, shoulders back, she turned and handed 2 extra tickets to the neighbor kids, who were there because their mom is friends with my sister's Pilates instructor. I felt Lucy's hand slide into mine. She squeezed. I felt the soft callus where a pencil sits wrong, the one we're working on with her teacher. She whispered, It's okay, Mom. I like the zoo more anyway. Avery laughed. Not mean, just thoughtless. I promised the twins they could invite besties if there were extras. Sorry, Lisa. You know how it is. She ruffled Lucy's hair like she was a pet. Here's the thing. I didn't make a scene. I didn't take the tickets back. Didn't lecture anybody about fairness. Didn't drag out a spreadsheet of what I pay, who I help, or how many miles I drive to show up for this family. I just stood there quiet. The smell of lighter fluid, overcooked hot dogs, sunscreen, my daughter's hand in mine. I felt something tilt inside me, like a load shifting on a curve you've taken 100 times. Then Dad added it, just soft enough to sound like a joke, just loud enough that I heard. Lisa's girl is tough. She can sit this one out. We'll make it up at Christmas. A cousin snorted. The neighbor kids whooped. My mom said, We'll do something special with you later, sweetheart, to Lucy. But she never made eye contact. She was already angling the camera. I carried the deviled eggs back to the truck when we left. No one noticed. I'm not dramatic. But that was the first time I felt a line land between me and them like a drawn curtain. Not slammed, not screamed, just there. Let me back up. This isn't about theme park tickets. It's about a stack of small cuts that look like kindness when you squinted. I was the kid who fixed things. Garage door tracks, the lawnmower, the squeaky hinge on the pantry. You've always been so handy, Mom would say, and I swallowed whole all the times. Handy felt like useful, felt like you don't have needs that take up space. Avery was the golden one. She wasn't cruel. She just knew where the sunbeam was and stood in it. Cheer captain, then marketing pro, then mom of 3 with a feed full of smiling lunches and bento boxes. My parents glowed when she entered a room. When I showed up sweaty from a haul, they asked if I could take a quick look at the sink. When my rig broke down in Davenport in February, I slept in the cab because hotels were a waste, according to Dad. I didn't argue. The next month, they asked me to spot Avery $5,000 for a bridge between freelance gigs. I wired it that day. When Lucy was born, I called my mom from the hospital parking lot where I'd run out to cry a little because the nurse said she had a sensory profile we'd need to learn. She'll be fine, Mom said. Don't turn her into a project. Avery posted a miracle with a picture of my newborn, where you could see the hospital bracelet with her last name misspelled. I asked her to take it down. She forgot. 3 summers ago, Dad had a mild stroke. He recovered. But the house, my grandparents' place, needed work. The roof curled like potato chips. The HVAC coughed dust. Mom said, "We can't lose the house, Lisa. It's our legacy." She looked at me like I was the bank and the contractor and the therapist in one package. Avery's kids need a place to remember. Here's the number. About $330,000. That's the mortgage I took on to keep the house and the family. My credit, my monthly. I did the math on a paper placemat at a truck stop while Lucy drew dinosaurs on the back. I told myself it wasn't a burden. It was a way to fix something important. "We'll do it temporarily," they said, "just until we sort title and a trust." Dad liked that word, trust. We went to a notary, signed a thing that said they'd add me as co-owner upon final deed update. I took pictures of everything. I always do. Clause 4.7. I noticed it because it sounded specific. Equitable interest recognized concurrent with payment schedule. I Googled it in a parking lot. It sounded like adult protection. I exhaled. For 5 years, I paid. Sometimes a little late, never more than 10 days. I routed it through a separate account so I could track every transaction. I replaced the roof, then the HVAC, then paid for a tree removal after a storm. I fixed the banister Dad swore he'd get to when the season slowed down. I handled property taxes when a bill got lost in the mail. I kept screenshots, I kept emails. I kept words like, "We'll square it soon," and "We owe you big," and "Just get it done. You're the only one who can." The Disney thing wasn't the first slap. It was just the one my daughter could see. 2 weeks later, I stopped by the county office on a Thursday. We haul paper out of a mill nearby, and I had an hour to kill before a pickup. The clerk behind the glass had a purple scrunchie and a sticker that said, "Ask me about plat maps." I asked if I could pull the current deed, just routine housekeeping. She typed, she frowned, she printed. "Owner of record," she said, passing the paper. Elijah and Mary Carter, joint tenants. Transfer last recorded 3 months ago to, she paused, correction. Transferred to Avery Benton 2 months later via quitclaim. Effective date. Sorry, I need to refresh. She turned the screen. There it was, my parents' names, then my sister's. My name was nowhere. I felt something cold and slow crawl up my spine. "Are you sure?" I asked, voice steady, palms damp. There was an agreement. I've been paying the mortgage for 5 years. She shrugged in that practical clerk way. Mortgage doesn't equal title. Happens a lot. You can request the full chain. She slid a form under the glass. I walked out with a manila envelope under my arm and a static buzz in my ears. I sat in the cab and read each page. Signatures, dates, my dad's slanted E's, my mom's careful M's, a notary stamp from the UPS store by the freeway. Then a document I hadn't seen, a quitclaim to Avery. Family consolidation. It said it like it was a bag of rice. I called Mom. "Oh, well," she said, and her tone told me everything before her words did. "You know how complicated paperwork is. We needed to simplify for estate planning. Avery has the kids. It just makes sense." "You never put me on the deed," I finished. She sighed. "Don't be dramatic. It's all one family pot." Here's the thing. I didn't yell. I didn't throw the phone. I hung up. Then I opened a new notes folder on my phone and labeled it House Receipts. I started quietly. I requested a copy of the notary journal. I exported 5 years of bank statements. I downloaded every email thread with subject lines like roof estimate and property tax reminder, and I'll Venmo, later promise. I screenshotted the clause I'd noticed years ago. 4.7, with the sentence equitable interest recognized concurrent with payment schedule. I saved the text where Dad wrote, "We'll add your name at Christmas, daughter." Christmas came and went. Then the next one. I kept driving. I ate in my cab and folded the manila envelope under the mattress. I told Lucy we'd do the zoo next weekend. She asked if dinosaurs ever got evicted. I said, not the smart ones. 3 weeks later, Avery sent a message in the family chat. Housewarming at ours. Clinking glasses, new paint, new curtains. Can't wait for you to see all the work we've put in. She attached a selfie in front of the porch. The porch I rebuilt during a heat wave while Dad supervised from a lawn chair with a sweet tea. I typed, "Congrats, I didn't send it." The problem wasn't that they forgot me. It was that they remembered me only as a resource. The driver, the checkbook, the woman who could be counted on to not make a mess while she cleaned up theirs. The housewarming was on a Sunday, family only, plus a couple close friends. I parked on the street even though the driveway had space because the last time I parked there, Dad said, "Watch the oil drip." I prepared like I do for a road inspection. Everything labeled, printouts in a binder because papers calm me, a thumb drive in my pocket because redundancy also calms me. I wasn't going to fight. I was going to state facts. Inside, the couch was new. The rug was new. The smell was that fake clean they sell in candle form. Guests said, "So bright, like brightness equals ownership." The twins ran circles around the coffee table. Lucy stuck to my leg. Avery hugged me with her arms and not her torso. The kind of hug that says, "Don't wrinkle my dress." "Isn't it amazing?" she said, sweeping a hand. "We really poured ourselves into this. You'll appreciate the craftsmanship." "I do," I said. It was true. I've always appreciated good work. Dad clapped me on the shoulder. "Kiddo," he boomed. "You made it. I was worried you'd be on the road." "I'm here," I said. I looked at Mom. She was busy arranging mini quiches. She didn't look at me. We did cake because Avery likes to sing for herself. Then she tinkled a glass. "Quick toast," she said, "to family and fresh starts and building a home my kids can grow up in." The room hummed with, "Oh, how nice." Lucy was tracing the wood grain on the table with one finger. She whispered, "This is your table, right?" "It's our family's table," I said. My voice did not shake. After the toast, I asked quietly, "Can we talk? Just the 5 of us." I meant me, Mom, Dad, Avery, and, because fairness, Lucy. She's a person. She lives here too, in her own way. We sat in the dining room. The new chandelier hummed. "I'll be quick," I said. I placed the binder on the table. Avery rolled her eyes like binders are for boring women. I opened to tab 1. Mortgage payments, 5 years, $329,784.18, rounded to $330 if we're speaking casually. My account to the lender. You can see the routing. Tab 2. Receipts for roof, HVAC, taxes, tree removal. Tab 3. Emails. We'll add your name at Christmas. Temporary structure until we amend the deed. Tab 4. A printout of the notary agreement from 5 years ago. Clause 4.7, in yellow. Equitable interest recognized concurrent with payment schedule. Avery made a scoff that sounded like a laugh. "What is this?" "A presentation," she said. "We're trying to have a party." Mom cut in. "We've always said—" I held up a palm. "I'm not here to argue. I'm here to put words in the same room as actions." Then I slid across the last page, the county deed record. Avery's name, my absence. Dad looked at it like it was a parking ticket we could blame on a broken meter. "We told you," he said. "Estate planning. Your sister has children. It had to be simple. You're so independent, Lisa. You don't need anchoring like she does." "It's not about need," I said. "It's about honesty." Avery leaned forward. "We invited your kid to every birthday. You can't make this about Disney." I looked at Lucy. She was counting the crystals on the chandelier. "This isn't about revenge," I said, each word like a smooth stone. "This is about closure." Dad's jaw worked. "What exactly are you after?" "Boundaries," I said. "An acknowledgement. Put my name back where your words say it belongs, or compensate me in writing for the full amount I've paid plus the repairs, and stop using my kids' patience as proof I can absorb being last." Silence, not heavy, just precise. Avery smiled with zero warmth. "Lawyer up then, if you want to make this ugly." "I don't want ugly," I said. "I want accurate." Clause 4.7. We all initialed it. I have the notary log. I have the emails. I have the transfers. I have Dad's text on Christmas Eve, 2 years ago. "We'll record it next week, daughter." Dad blustered. "You're being ungrateful." "For paying your mortgage?" I asked. "For keeping the lights on? For the roof that doesn't leak on your grandkids?" Mom snapped. "It was small, but it was there. You're making your father feel bad." "After everything he's done." Lucy spoke for the first time, quiet. "Do we live here?" Avery opened her mouth. I didn't let her answer for my daughter. "No, buddy," I said. "We don't live here." I stood up. "So here's what happens next," I said, still calm. "Tomorrow, I'll send a letter. It will list amounts and dates. It will include the clause and the notary info and the timeline. It will offer 2 options. Add me to the deed as equal owner or buy out what I've put in. It will give you 14 days. I won't argue about past Christmases or tickets or who deserves what. I will not be in the group chat for this part. You can go through my representative. Avery snorted. Representative. I looked her in the eye. An attorney, Avery. Not because I'm suing you today, because I'm done being the only adult at this table without paper. I closed the binder. The chandelier hum felt louder. Then the first phone buzzed in the living room. Then another. Then mine. My screen lit like a slot machine. Dad's missed call. Mom's text. Lisa, stop this. Aunt Karen heard a rumor. Uncle Tim, you're embarrassing your father. Avery. I will not be threatened in my own home. And oddly, one from the neighbor's Pilates friend. Wow, classy. I took Lucy's hand. We're heading out, I said. Congratulations on the paint. It's a good color. We stepped onto the porch. The sky had that late Sunday tint that makes you think about school lunches and early mornings. My phone buzzed again. I turned it off. The next morning, 7:12 a.m., I sat in a strip mall office with a plant that wasn't fooling anyone. The sign said Mason and Holt, Real Estate and Family. The receptionist had an alarming number of sticky notes. I had my binder and a small bag of pretzels because my blood sugar likes boundaries too. The attorney, Holt, the younger one, listened. He didn't blink at the family parts. He underlined numbers. He circled clause 4-7. This helps, he said. I like that you kept the notary page. Most people don't. He typed a letter that was simple and not angry. Sometimes simplicity feels like power. We sent it certified. We sent an email copy. The subject line, equitable interest, demand for cure, clean. No adjectives. By noon, the group chat was a bonfire. You're selfish. Aunt Karen, you know your sister has 3 kids. Think of the kids. Dad texted separately because he knows guilt fits easier when it's private. You're ruining us. Avery, do you want my children homeless? 26 missed calls in 4 hours, then 39. I stopped looking. Mom left a voicemail where she cried on minute 2, and then sounded normal on minute 3, to ask if I could still pick up folding chairs for the church. I didn't respond. Holt responded for me. Always the same 2 sentences. Communicate through counsel. We remain open to resolving quickly. They escalated anyway, like people do when the old levers stop working. Dad, you'll regret this. Families don't keep score. Me to the silent cab. We did for 5 years. We just did it in my account. Aunt Karen called my ex, Mark. Are you okay? Lisa's having some kind of episode. Mark, to his credit, texted me a screenshot with 3 words. Want me blocking? I said, yes, please. He did. Avery posted a picture of her kids on the porch with a caption about choosing joy in hard seasons and a Bible verse that I'm sure means something in a different context. Her friends commented heart emojis. One of them messaged me, be kind to your sister. I didn't reply. Meanwhile, road life went on. I drove to Omaha with paper rolls, to Tulsa with ketchup packets, to Topeka with parts for a place that makes snowplows.